How does the word beefy describe a knife? I don't know, but it's pretty much universal when people hold this knife that word comes to mind. It's kind of funny. This is the Dalibor Sirius. He is a maker out of Croatia. I just got this in, so this is a handmade knife of his design, made by him. Made by him, yeah. This is, what you would probably consider a custom knife. And this thing is, it's a tank. That's an overused word, but it's a fitting one. The reason why I bring up the word beefy is because I took this to work yesterday and showed it to one of my coworkers. He's not a knife guy. I usually show him my knives, but he is not a knife guy himself. And the first two things that came to his mind was the word beefy, and he said, "This is like holding a gun." And it really is. This knife is insane. It is absolutely insane. I'm really digging this thing. So yeah, I got this the other day in from Croatia, from the source, from the man himself. And it's particularly cool, this knife, because I started following Dalibor's post. He started a thread on the USN where he showed off his first knife that he ever made, and it was called the Regulus, and it's basically the larger version of this, if you can believe it. It's the larger version of this, and got a lot of good response on it. First time he made the knife, so then he started doing runs. He did a run of the Regulus and did a work in progress. He showed, okay, I cut out the blanks, I'm going to grind tomorrow, here it is somewhat assembled, just seeing that progression. And then people started asking for a smaller version, like a 3.5 inch version, which is what this is. And I saw him do his first sketches, and he actually had two different blade designs, very similar, but this one with the kind of little convex piece right here. And then he had another version that didn't have that, and he basically posted both of those up there and said, okay guys, which one do you like the most out of these two blade designs? And everybody chose this one. So that's what he went with. And so I saw him go from his first initial designs of this knife to his first prototype, and then I got in on it, and this is out of only the second run of this knife ever, is this right here. And so part of the fun and excitement of this knife is everything leading up to it. Conversing with Dalibor and seeing his work in progress and seeing this knife come from design to fruition, and then finally getting it in my hand. Very cool. He is definitely inspired by Strider. As you can see, he follows the knife school of thought of the overbuilt, super beefy, mega tough knives. And that's exactly what this is in every sense of the word. You have really thick stock 3V steel, so very strong, tough steel. 3V steel. You can see how thick that tip is. Just a robust blade. Flat ground right here. It's not hollow ground, and yet he put a very razor sharp convex edge on there. Everything is done very well design wise on here. Spider hole, great jimping, sharpening choil. Finger choil right here that you can creep up on, very functional, very usable. Overall design of this knife is just fantastic. You can see how well it fits my hand. I have, medium to large size hands. Fits it very well. 3.5 inch blade, plenty of cutting length. It's kind of I don't know what you would call that blade shape. It's a little bit of a Tonto inspired type blade, but obviously not really a Tonto. You've got kind of the straight edge here, and then a fairly sharp turn here. It's somewhat curved, not quite straight. So very functional. You could use this for a lot of different things. It'd be great for piercing as well as cutting. And it's pretty amazing that he went from that thick a stock to such a sharp edge on there. Very nice. Super thick titanium slabs. Uses stop pins as the blade stop, so it does not have a stop pin back here. This standoff is used as the stop pin in the closing position, which impacts about right here. Then you have just two more standoffs holding this thing together. So you've got screws coming in males coming into the female standoffs there. So it makes a really robust knife. I've taken this apart twice now. Once for cleaning. It came heavily greased. Obviously, when it's going overseas like that, you want it to be protected. And so I took it apart for cleaning, and this thing just comes apart and goes together like magic. So easy. Very well centered. Slightly off. That's just because it has a lot of lock bar tension. You can see the cutoff there. Cut out, not cut off. Very thick steel, not steel, very thick titanium steel right there. So this definitely has a lot of lock bar tension. Lock bar is actually bent almost all the way over. I mean like this outer edge here almost lines up with the inner edge there. So it's almost got a full bend to it. And it just locks up. I mean, this is probably the most solid knife I've ever held in my life. It's like holding a solid piece of steel. It's quite amazing. It came very stiff. It's still pretty stiff. The tolerances on this, and this is a funny or interesting dynamic about this knife. It's actually quite rough around the edges. A lot of the machining work is a little bit uneven, like the beveling inside of the spider hole here, and you can definitely tell this is done by hand. You know, some of this beveling here is not perfectly even to this. You know, I mean, you can definitely see the maker's hand in this knife, and yet everywhere that it counts, the way it fits together, the way it functions is 100% precise, which is quite amazing when you think about how difficult it would be to make a knife, especially by hand. You know, everything has to line up perfectly. You have to have this lockup perfect. You can see how early that is, where the stop pins make full contact. You know, I've seen makers where, you know, this contact is off and you're kind of hitting the back of this thing. You've got to make sure that the detent hole fully engages when it hits that stop pin so that you don't have slop right here. Have received knives where you have a little detent slop where when the knife is fully seated, it's not perfectly lining up with that detent hole, and so you get a little bit of play in there. This is 100% perfect detent. I love this detent. And because of the lock bar strength, this thing is not falling open at all. So it's quite amazing. Oh, and then also, the way this fits together, you can actually remove, completely loosen this pivot, and it is still completely tight. It does not, you do not have any play, and that's because all of these pieces here are so precisely fit together that you can completely loosen this pivot, and it's still, you have no blade play in the thing. So it's quite interesting, the precision involved in it. That's one of the reasons why I really like it. I kind of like this hand-done look to it. The hand-done look to it, but having it made 100% correctly, if that makes any sense to you. So it definitely has that. You can see the maker's hand in every aspect of this knife, and yet, you know, everything's tight as a drum. There's no play. Everything locks up rock solid. Everything lines up perfectly, and yet it's kind of got those little handmade, somewhat, I don't want to call them imperfections, but just, you know, organic kind of looking. It took me a long time to break this in. It was super sticky, extremely sticky, to the point where I could not unlock it with my thumb. For a whole night, I had to, you know, do the tough thumbs method where you spin it around, unlock it with your forefinger, or even go like this, and it'll still occasionally, it'll kind of stick up. It's kind of starting to stick up a little bit right now. So it's definitely a knife that you need to break in, but it does break in. I mean, as you can see right now, I can unlock it with just my thumb quite easily. It's starting to smooth up. And so that's kind of cool. I like the idea of making it yours and kind of melting it all together. Yeah, so definitely very cool. The lockup has moved in like 1/2 millimeter out of maybe the 1,000 times that I've opened this thing. Another thing that I really love about this knife is the pocket clip. It's a custom pocket clip, and it is executed perfectly. Goes in and out of the pocket perfectly. I mean, there's no problems at all. It's got great tension, and so that's really cool that he was able to get this pocket clip so perfect. A lot of the times makers will kind of not quite hit that mark. So yeah, just a quick look at the Sirius here. Great custom folder from a guy out of Croatia. All right, guys, later.